Well, here's a startling number. Did you know that 138 million Americans ages 12 and over drink alcohol? 28 million of them have an alcohol use disorder. That's according to the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics. March 20th through March 26th is National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Joining us with more to talk a little bit about the details of substance abuse awareness, prevention, and treatment options, Dr. Lakeisha Height of Therapeutic Treatment Center and TheraStop. It's wonderful to have you back with us.
Thank you so much for having me back again. This is one of my specialties.
This week is well underway, National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Let's start at the beginning. You know, we mentioned some very tall statistics in terms of use. Paint the picture, Dr. Height, of I'm interested in gateway drugs, usage of alcohol, and how this then escalates.
Exactly. So what people do not realize is that generally people may not start initially with the harder drugs. They may start initially drinking a little alcohol, may be smoking some marijuana, or if you will, nicotine cigarettes. And what generally happens is that they look for a different type of feeling, a different type of effect that may manifest into other harder drugs such as opiates, stimulants, crack cocaine, amphetamine, some things of that nature.
So in terms of this week of awareness, it's incredibly eye-opening too when you think nicotine widely available, marijuana available, alcohol accessible and available. These are things that folks may use, but if you have an addictive personality or an addictiveness to your nature, can be that stair step to this being an escalation.
Absolutely. What people do not understand is that addiction is the umbrella. So we could be addicted to a variety of things, not just drugs and alcohol. We can be addicted to shopping, eating, video gaming, just being in front of the computer. So if we are inherently born with an addiction gene, then we could automatically have that predisposition in us. And then once we go and overindulge in something else that could have those addictive properties to us, we can become addicted to that, whether that's a substance or food or shopping or things of that nature.
And this, for lack of a better way of describing it, can somewhat be a shapeshifter. You may end up having that addictive compulsion towards one thing, but then back off and go full tilt in another aspect of it.
Exactly. Addiction can start with genetics. If you have a family history of alcoholism, if you have a family history of an eating disorder, also if you are someone who was born addicted to a substance, you're already predisposed to that addiction. Another thing is trauma related. Some people who struggle with trauma may use a substance to calm whatever they're feeling in conjunction with that trauma. Or if they have an undiagnosed mental health disorder, they may turn to using substances as their way of trying to minimize or prevent or cope with whatever mental health disorder that they may be struggling with.
And oftentimes when that coping mechanism that has worked for a while, that you've depended on, doesn't work anymore, then it can evolve or devolve even further.
Absolutely. What happens is that when people use a substance as a coping mechanism, it's tangible. Say, for instance, I'm using crack cocaine. I have the pipe and I have the crack. It's in my hand. That feeling, they contributed to, okay, this is my coping mechanism because I don't want to feel the trauma that was associated with me. Say I was sexually abused from the age of 5 to 6. So because I have something tangible that I can use and that's helping me psychologically, I feel like that's helping me cope with whatever trauma I'm dealing with because I don't want to have that feeling.
How do we recognize, we've talked about the problem, how do we recognize some of the signs and symptoms that may be in family members, friends, co-workers, people in the community?
With substances, it's a behavioral thing. So what people tend to do is when they overly indulge in a substance or they're starting to become addicted to a substance, their behavior and mannerism starts to change. They start becoming secretive. They may disappear for like an hour or so, unexplainable reasons. Things may start disappearing within the household, money, valuables. They may become lethargic. Their pupils may be dilated. They may start itching or scratching, sweating profusely. All of those things you can pick up behavioral-wise.
So there are physical reveals, and there are also these personality reveals, behavioral reveals. What do you do when this is happening in terms of being able to help? What are the options for treatment?
Well, first you need to be educated. You know, educate on what you think the family member may be suffering with, because some substances could manifest in something that could be a mental health disorder. You want to be sure that it's a substance use that the person is actually using, because when you confront someone, they can become very defensive. And someone who's a heavy user could become very defensive, where they become argumentative or aggressive. So you want to be aware of what that could potentially be. So you want to have a soft approach and just state facts. I noticed this, I noticed that. In my research, this could suggest this. Is there something you're struggling with? Is there something that I can help you with? Be factual, soft confrontation, but not aggressive in it, because they may retreat.
You could start this conversation as a family member, as a friend, but if you're ill-equipped, can you end up making this matter even worse before somebody would seek help with a professional?
You can. However, if you come with understanding, family support is key when assisting someone who's addicted to a substance, because family are usually the people that are first subjected to the behaviors of an addict. So if a family member were to come in a supportive fashion, hey, I see this, I know this, and I want to help, then that could help them help themselves. But if they come aggressive, accusatory, meeting them with conflict, then that may make them retreat and go back into whatever their addiction was.
It's an incredibly delicate balance. It's very important to handle it carefully and, as you said, treat it with love and understanding too.
Absolutely.
And make your way for help. Thank you, Dr. Height, so much for being with us.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it. We're going to share some information. Dr. Height always leads us in the right direction, and you can learn more about Dr. Height and find out about the services she offers. We'll have a direct link on our show website by early this afternoon, virginiathismorning.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back.